Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at the spot. If you guys ever see Be Uplifted, this is the place. And I forgot what Vince said. Bang Bang.
Oh, the Bang Bang Hour? Yeah, with a party like a mother.
Oh man, yeah. I'm in a legendary location.
No.
Disclosed. Can't tell anyone. No, I'm just kidding.
So how do you do your intros? Should I shut up and then let you do your thing? Did I interrupt you?
No, this is actually good.
Take two. Sorry.
You know it's funny. We just keep on talking, and sometimes that's already a good intro as is. But then I'll say, "Oh, okay. Well, by the way, we're here," and yeah, it's very organic, very unscripted, and like I mentioned to a lot of people usually think I use a script, but I'm just framing the shot because
looking at naughty things actually.
Yeah, zoom in.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Hey, I'm on off. Is that what you get?
Oh yeah, Operation Fulfill.
I'm on off.
That's a good way
What's up, guys? Buenos nachos sayong lahat. Okay.
We just went multinational or international.
Yeah.
Wow, that's multilingual.
Trilingual. I try anything.
Oh man, cultural diversity. You know, we're open to everyone. No. I'm actually very honored to be here, and am I okay to call you Kuya?
Sure, absolutely. Honestly, the only reason I'm here is because he couldn't get a hold of JR. I don't know.
JR de Guzman?
JR de Guzman, yeah.
The comedian.
Yeah.
My cousin. People think we're cousins, but
yeah,
I'll say on record we're not.
Yeah, he couldn't get Rufio, so he was who else can I get?
Yeah. I was like, who's the next big Filipino? No, I'm just kidding. No. Mr. Vincent Fontabella, aka, and he just told me right now it's the Vinylinist. I'm still gonna try to remember that.
Yeah, no problem. I have it's a nickname that my daughter gave to me because when I was scratching, this was when she was growing up and she was doing violin, so she was exploring music at the time. And when I was scratching, I'm not dope or anything, but she's being the biggest supporter. She's all, "Oh, Dad, it sounds like a violin, but with vinyl. So you're like a vinylinist." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I kept that theme. So from then on, I stopped putting DJ in my name because before it was DJ VTech. And it was like when I was a lot more arrogant. I'm probably still arrogant now, according to most people, especially if you watch the Be Uplifted podcast.
Yes, please stay tuned on that. These guys are,
But yeah, when I was like, oh, look at me, I'm a DJ. I had to put my name in the title so that people would recognize me of something that it's like self-proclaimed. And I'm like, now I'd rather try to live up to the image that my daughter has of me.
Wow.
So I kept that theme. So for DJing, it's the Vinylinist. With photography, because I started with a SLR camera. So now I'm also the SL artist. But to be honest with you, I only have those as a branding thing. I'd rather people just call me Vincent, to be honest with you.
Because that's who you're first and foremost, right?
Yeah, exactly. Vincent. And it's like, I want to be a normal person. Like if you invite me to a party, I'd like to show up to party with you, not, can you bring your camera? Or you think you could spin a set? And it's like, yes, I will do that. But please invite me because I'm decent company, I would hope. As opposed to what you're gonna get out of our friendship, which, full disclosure, if I have a resource that is available, please ask me for it. That's fine. I don't mind sharing. I don't gatekeep or anything like that. But I also want to enjoy life as a normal person. I'm not saying that I'm abnormal or anything, but
I'm glad you pointed that out, because even though you are a jack of all trades, first and foremost, the person that has all these talents is the supposed to be the front and center, the focus, right? Not necessarily the skills or the whatever they have in hand. But joking aside, what we said earlier, that's why I hit up Vince, because I've seen him at some gigs where he DJs, and heard about his photography business, but when you actually just sit down and talk like this, you're just hanging out with the homie and someone. And I have to tell you, I know you hate it when I do the humble pie like chat, but you definitely have a servant heart. I like what you said. Like, you're always willing to help others, to be their best. And he's actually being a mentor to me. Like today, like we met up here at his studio, and then yeah, I'm still learning the ropes, and he gave me some pointers while we're setting up. And yeah, thank you for just being that, being a mentor.
I appreciate that. I don't know if I can fully accept that. I'm going to accept the endearment that you mean behind that, but I do want to clarify this. I'm not humble. I'm just self-aware. And so let me put it this way. If anybody had all the knowledge that I have, whether it's photography, they had my knowledge on it, they would automatically be better than me. If everybody knew the things that I know about DJing, they would all be better than me. And here's the thing, is that I might technically understand things and how they work, but I'm not as artistic as anybody else. But I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and a lot of trial and error, right?
I've gracefully fell or failed a lot. But in that gracefulness, I'll remember that, and then I'll try to put some artistic stuff in it. But straight up, if you knew everything about turntables and mixers and Serato and how to map all of the things, I have no doubt in my mind that you would actually be a better DJ than me. If you know what all the buttons on the camera do and how the properties of light work and how audio works and everything, you'd be a much better photographer, videographer than I would, because I'm just not that artistic. I'm just consistently lucky. And again, I'm not being humble, but I am self-aware. Like I know that I've been going to the gym a lot, but I also know no matter how buff I might get, I'm still not going to be handsome. And it's not self-deprecating. And like, don't think that, oh, he's just trying to get likes. No, I understand these things. And me being self-aware goes in different levels. And some people don't think that there's some things that you can be self-aware with. And I'm okay with not being attractive. That's fine. Because I have other resources that make up for it. But it's
beauty is in the eye of the beholder, brother. That's all I gotta say.
What's up?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I guess, yeah, it can be, but then at the same time, there's also there's a conscious way that you can look at things, because you could be the best at all of these things, but me being an average Filipino at 5'6", I'm not going to be in the NBA. No matter how much I what's it called, manifest it or work towards it, that's just not it. And same thing with like, how I talk about like my looks. I know I'm not attractive. I don't think I'm ugly, but I don't think that I'm attractive. I'm easily forgettable, which is completely fine. But the things that I can control, those are the things that I focus on.
For sure.
Yeah.
On that note, you being self-aware, at least you paved the road, right? You set a path, and at least you did the footwork. You're right. If you laid out the knowledge and experiences that you you had and gave it to someone, they'll definitely have a good road track or good path.
That's also why I don't try to gatekeep anything, because all of the knowledge that I have, if I can have you understand that, I'm looking forward to what you create. Like, I want to be watching your podcast and being the first one in the comments being like first, or you know what I mean? Like, I want to fanboy over my friends.
No, for sure.
Because I think that they deserve it, not me. I don't care. I paid a lot of money to be behind the camera,
Yes, we talked about that earlier, yeah.
And it may not be a lot to some people, but it's a huge percentage of my income. So it's a lot to me.
Yeah.
But I think that, like who am I to gatekeep the knowledge that I've learned to prevent somebody from expressing themselves just because they don't own this giant light, or they don't have a 17-foot ceiling, or they don't have, like space where they can move things around all the time, or maybe they're their house just isn't an ideal place. Or even if you have guests all the time, what if you wanted to have a guest, but you don't really want them to know where you live? You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I've had guests where they said, "Oh, could we do a podcast there?" And I'm like, "Oh, you guys are kind of sketchy. I don't want to invite you to my house, but at least here there's surveillance and everything like that." So
that's true, and it's almost I don't want to say a public setting, but at least it's a space where you are able to bring people and not have any kind of insecurity with it. So yeah, or not. I have more security. You know. Oh yeah, more security. Yeah, because you'll never know. Yeah, right. If you haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you, and I think I just learned the term gatekeeping. I didn't know what that was until a few days ago, and I think it's good you say that, because I think a good thing to have is, I guess the term would be legacy, maybe, or
maybe
like in a way, like, well, I guess all the talents and treasures you have, and this is me from talking in a man of faith perspective, like. Whatever you're blessed with, it's not going to be filled with grace or beauty if you don't share it, right? If you don't open it up and let others experience what you got to experience. So I think that's a great way and a great point that you have there. So
well, you're a man of faith, and I think that I'm a similar belief system, but then I'm more of a spiritual, because I don't really associate. I don't want to say associate, but for lack of better terms, I don't really associate with like a particular belief system. But then I'm trying to convince myself that there's a higher power, and I want to believe that. But I'm a man of like science and proof. But in my heart, I believe that there's something that's greater than us. And I would say that I would. Here's where I differentiate with a lot of people that are religious. Where I think that for a lack of knowledge of the correct term, I'm going to just say God. I know that God is there to help.
Yeah.
But I hope I never have to ask God for any help. And I can't see myself asking God for help, because I would think that if God exists, God's gift to me was my life.
Yes.
And that's more than enough for me to ever ask for anything in return. But my gift back to God would be what I do with that life. So that's why I try to help out people, because he's blessed me with the ability to understand things. He's also blessed me with like a dumb brain, so I can make things understandable for people.
Hey, keeping it simple. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, so I could keep it simple. So I think that's the blessing. But But as far as like what you said earlier about having a legacy and stuff, I'm kind of scared of that. I wanna and it sucks. I don't want people to think that I'm like depressed or anything. But honestly, I wish I hope I'm forgettable, because I heard this quote one time, and I know, because I only heard it one time, I'm going to butcher it, but
it's okay, you're making your own.
yeah. So it was something along the lines of a father's love is the most difficult love, because a father will teach the people that he can't live without how to live without them.
Wow.
So like for my daughter, I want her to be able to be okay when I'm gone, because she knows, and I know, I'm not going to be around forever, and I've said this to the girls and to Rich on the podcast, that I hope one day you guys outgrow me, and you guys become so big that you're gonna realize that one day you're gonna have to remember me longer than you've known me, and if that happens, I'll be proud of you.
Oh man, let that sink in for a bit. I'm speechless right now.
Well, I mean,
no. It's I know you said you're not humble, you're self-aware, but I mean, just that definition, just you if it comes to faith 101, I'm not perfect. I'm just a believer too, right? But I think you hit the nail in the coffin. I shouldn't say that because I don't want you dead, but
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I'm bad with my slang, and my wife will be a
it's okay.
Testify to that.
He has the fleek. It's all good. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I still need to learn my slang, but no. I think you just saying, the only thing that you're grateful, if it comes to God, what He gives you is your life. I think you're right. It's more than enough. I think people tend to forget that, and that's why this YouTube channel is. I originally called it Gerard Loves Life because, life is something that you make out of it, right? Whatever you make of it. And I think you said it so perfectly. Like, if there's anything I can give back to God in return for giving me life, is what I make out of it. And you're totally. And again, with Operation Fulfill, you're fulfilling all of that. So no, thank you for having that heart and having that mind and just making sure that others excel, right? You want others to fly, especially those you care about. So.
Cool. Well, good podcast, guy. No,
no, we're done. That was the
a good note, but yeah, that's what I might be wrong. Nobody's perfect, and I'm willing to understand that. And I'm willing to grow from that. If I'm looking at things the wrong way, please help me see the right way.
Oh, for sure. Even though you're saying you're more of a spiritual guy, and I think, in order to find your faith journey, I think the path you're doing is the right one, because if you just stay stagnant and just say, oh, God is God and that's all I need. Us as folks, we're explorers, right? We need to keep on exploring, and you do that with a lot of what you do. If you don't try to question and uncover things, how boring can life be? It's not an adventure if you don't try to go past the line that's in front of you. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I know you've had this podcast where you feature a lot of people, but I want to know what got you started in this. Like, I know you touched on it, but can we expand on that?
Oh man, we're putting this on me. No,
a little bit, yeah.
In all honesty, I've always just had a curiosity of who's in front of me, like at that moment, and I'm always curious to know their story, their background. I actually try to, I want to listen because, sure, for instance, an example, I try to. Shout out to Daphne and Dennis, All Things Ube. Oh, their food is so good. Their desserts are amazing. But who's the person that created this?
Yeah.
Who's the face that crafted this thing that that gave me a dope dessert? I'm always curious to know the background story. And whenever we go to a restaurant or we go to some kind of event, I'm always engaged. I always want to meet the person. Kind of like get the deep cuts, get to know who they are, instead of just, oh yeah, that DJ was cool. It's like, oh yeah, the DJ's cool, and I got to talk to him. I got to talk to Vince after his set, and such a dope guy. Like, he's always, he says he's not handsome, but he is. But
No.
And he told me about his daughter, and we only talked for 5 minutes, but I felt like I got to know a brother that moment. So that's been my. That's all. I'm a nosy guy, maybe.
No, it's fine. I see it as curious. You're a curious person.
I'm very curious, and I just want to. I always love making friends. I always love making connections, and I think that's actually. I always thought about calling the podcast "Connect" but that's very general. But I love connecting with folks, and it just feels nice when you feel like you're building community. Getting to know the village. And, there's a capacity sometimes, right? You don't want to exceed it. You don't want to burn yourself out. But when I feel like I have the opportunity to get to know people and break bread with them, I'll do it. So
yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. And
Dang,
then
I wish we were eating, kind of.
I know, right? I know we usually do, and then my bad. No, and we'll probably do that in a future.
I might have Skittles here somewhere if you want.
Oh yeah, you know, my blood sugar's a little low right now, so
Is it?
no, just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's been my whole thing, and you know what I'm using right now. Actually, this might be a good transition, but whenever we go on vacation, I love to document and just kind of
That's awesome.
yeah, you know, like take footage or take pictures of wherever you go because you want to make memories, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's why you do what you do. You know, you freeze the moment so you can always like, look back into it. So I got this 360 camera, and you know, we went to Hawaii, and then I had a friend who was streaming. He was twitching, and he said, "Hey, Gerard, you know, maybe you could do it too." I'm like, "I don't play video games. I don't know how to DJ." Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
my brother Ollie, who DJs sometimes on Twitch. But he said, "Well, you know, you can do IRL." I'm like, "What's that?" In real life,
Yeah.
why don't you document? You know, you always like talk to people and just hang out. Some people do that, and maybe you can make something out of that. And I thought it would be cool because at the same time, it would be a platform to highlight, to give a spotlight to people who inspire me, like you. So
Well, actually, I was gonna do my own podcast. It was gonna be called the Nonprofit Podcast, right? In the sense that I'm an idiot and I'm not a prophet, like I'm not Jesus, you know.
oh,
So I was gonna do that, but then I was gonna highlight my friends because, like I said, I have access to all of these things.
yeah,
But I want to highlight them so that they can have a platform to shine on, and then they can start with their own thing, and then eventually forget about me, you know.
Aw.
But yeah, that was one of the things I was like thinking, oh, I should do one. It's like I keep coming up with these things. I'm like, I'm too lazy to do it. Like that was so that was one. It was the Nonprofit Podcast. Another one that I was
Rings a
gonna
bell.
do was Awesome by Accident, because if you're Filipino and you get surprised with something that's like awesome by accident, you usually say "Aba," you know. So it's ABA, so it's like
know.
awesome by accident. But then I was like, oh man, somebody took like it was
really,
one person that took it on I think it was Instagram. Like on YouTube it was free, on Facebook it was free, on Twitter it was free, but on Instagram it wasn't free. And they had like 36 followers, and they had one post in the past 18 years. I don't know what it was. That doesn't even make sense. But like,
Hey.
yeah, they wouldn't sell it to me. But I was like, it would have been cool if I made an Awesome by Accident one.
dude, genius. Hey, this is the content creation space right here, and
Yeah.
those are some. Oh man. Well, if you launch it, please let me know so I can collaborate and put you on. And I mean, I'm putting you on now, but if you have that too,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of stupid things that I've done, just like troll accounts. Like,
Yeah, when I talked to you, I knew about your 2 accounts, but I didn't know you had 6, right? There's that
yeah.
current.
So I have another one. It's you can just use my name. So
Really?
if somebody asks me, hey, can I have your Instagram? I'll just tell them, yeah, you can just use my name. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. And they'll start spelling out my name. I'm like, no, that's it. Youcan. You know, it says you can just use my name.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my Instagram account. So
I was about to say, oh man, wordplay.
yeah,
It's
so
fine.
there was that. Or I have a friend that she's an entertainer, you know, and she has to promote herself, and it's in the dark arts of sensuality.
I got you.
But she has this fine line where she doesn't want to be stalked, but at the same time she also wants to promote herself so that she can make money, right?
Yeah, have a showcase.
So she's like, I'm thinking about changing my Instagram name. I was just like, oh, well, why don't you just I don't use social media as your Instagram name. So if people ask you, they say, hey, what's your Instagram? Just say, I don't use social media. And if they find it, if you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Yeah.
But then at the same time, you're not really being rude because you're being honest with them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know, it kind of covers all bases, I guess, in that case.
I don't know how we got to the segue.
I know.
Yeah.
Anything goes on Operation Fulfill, brother.
Yeah. But you know, for the lack of, you know, like I said, I'm pretty I'm pretty lazy. There's a lot of ideas that I have, and if one pops up that you in the the audience has checked up on, and I haven't, if I said it and I haven't used it, then I guess it's free. Go ahead, use it.
Well, hopefully this recording will be a stamp or what is it, a footprint, so it's like you can revisit like, oh, no one used it. I could you do say that, but I mean, talk about the past like steps and moves that you've executed, and here we are today. So it's okay to be lazy sometimes, but I think you've again paved the long road before like you took a break. So I wanted to revisit, and I love the fact that your daughter has been how she kind of has been an inspiration for your current path, right?
Oh yeah.
So you've been doing music for quite a long time. You've been DJing, and then got into photography. I guess what are the origins of that? Because I've known you've DJed for quite a long while, but I don't know how how it began.
Well, I always had an interest in it, and then I always like growing up in back then we had VHS tapes, so we didn't have YouTube.
What is that? No, I'm just kidding.
So like the thing is that not everybody could be a star. And the only exposure that I had to like seeing DJs is if the rare times that I see them on BET or MTV or on the DJ videotapes that we get,
Oh yeah, those are
So in my personal opinion, in order to have a distributed tape, you have to be like superhuman. Like there's actors, there's professional musicians and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'll never be like that. But then come to find out, like when we had a dance at Challenger Junior High School, and we had like a DJ there, I was like, whoa, there's somebody that can actually DJ. I really want to learn how to do this. And shout out to DJ X-Ray, because I think it was DJ X-Ray.
Oh, wow.
Was, he's OG. He's OG in San Diego. He DJ'd, and he's the one that made me believe like, oh, people can do this, because back then celebrities weren't that accessible.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, these are celebrities. They trained their entire lives like in a temple to just DJ. and then when I saw X-Ray do it, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I really want to do this. So even though I didn't have the money for it, I always like studied it. So it was something that I was like, I'm going to learn how to do this. Never got as good as like Qbert or anything like that, but I did understand the fundamentals of it. So when I finally was able to afford my first setup, which, by the way, I'm not going to take credit for that. I do want to give credit to my daughter's mom who bought me my first setup. So she's a wonderful person. So I thank you so much. I'm not going to put her on blast.
No doxing. Yeah, thank you though.
but yeah, thank you very much for believing in me. And I finally got my first setup. I started DJing and stuff. Fast forward, DJ X-Ray made me part of 3Style, so now I'm part of the crew that inspired me to actually start DJing.
Wow.
So I was like, about this is a
360.
Yeah, it was a full circle. And and with that, like, it really humbled me because, when you have a small circle of friends, and if you're the best one in there, but you're only the best because of default, it's easy to get an ego, especially when we're like a lot younger and stuff like that. But then when my daughter, with my daughter inspiring me, I've learned very quickly that everything that I do should be to make my daughter proud of me. And everything that my daughter does, I have to let her know that I'm proud of her. Yeah. So, that's kind of why I took that path. And then trying to learn it so that I can teach it was my intention the whole time. Because, like, I don't know if you know this, but I don't take gigs, like, everywhere. The only reason I take this gig that we have on Fridays and Saturdays is because I get to do whatever I want. Yeah. And it's fun. Yeah. And it's not it's not a cash grab. I don't go there and negotiate. I'm like, no, dude, you guys, I love the atmosphere here. I love the people that work there.
For sure, it's definitely a creative space and an open air, like not open air, but definitely a free for all for sure.
Yeah, it's an open format, and they also allow me to put people on that don't really, like I would hate for my first gig to be in front of a big crowd. So what I do get to do is, I haven't had any guests lately because I haven't found anybody that wanted to jump on, but
when people see this, hopefully.
Yeah, on Fridays I do what I call Feature Friday, where I just feature a DJ, and it's very, very casual. So if you get on, or I can go before you, you can go before me. If you want a set of like 20 minutes of perfect songs that you've curated together, you could play that and then I can jump back on. If you're feeling it the whole night, you could go for 2 hours straight. I don't care. If if there's anything that you need help with, like I'll give you music or whatever. So again, it's one of those things where I have this resource, and why should I gatekeep it to prevent somebody that can potentially be better than me? But if I do gatekeep it, I'm holding their artistic abilities back from the entire world potentially, because of YouTube and Kick and Twitch and social media and just, you know what I mean? It's easy to like go viral or to have, to be seen, not just in our neighborhood like it used to be. But yeah, if I don't give them the tools that they could use, they may never reach that potential.
True, yeah.
And I think that's selfish if people gatekeep, but it is what it is. It's just my own belief.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around that. Just that, I wonder why some folks do that, but to each their own, like you said. But like I said earlier, you've always been someone that I feel like you want to make sure that people are able to fly, lift off, and just talk about how amazing it is, just going back to legacy or that kind of idea, just you going back to Challenger and seeing DJ X-Ray like up on the 1s and 2s, and then now here you are, like, you're being that, to these folks who are, a little bit intimidated, right? You're right. It is intimidating when you get to perform in front of people, but you're making it like a playground, a creative space to like jump on and just be you, man.
Exactly.
Just get into it.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I let them fail too. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Rich, the first time he ever touched...
Shout out to Queer Rich.
Yeah, the first time he ever touched turntables was over there.
Really?
Yeah, the very first time he ever touched turntables, because we were watching somebody on Twitch. And this was the time that I was hanging out with Party Like a Motha. She was doing her Twitch streams from here. And we're like, okay, well, what is this Twitch thing? Because he knew about it already. I didn't know too much about it. At most, I understood what Zoom calls were.
Oh.
Other than that, I was like, what? I don't know what this is. I knew of it, but I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And so like we're doing our research and we're watching other DJs, and then we're watching this one girl she's a really good DJ, but camera angle was off, she wasn't, she didn't have the best equipment and stuff like that. And he was looking at it, he was kind of critical because like I said, the camera angle was off. So he didn't see what she was doing. And he was like, dude, she's just playing music. And I was like, well, if you think it's easy, you could do it. And he's all like, I'll try. I've never done it before. I showed him what the buttons did, and then I left him alone. And this man is so OG, because the very first time he touched the turntables, he live streamed for 5 hours. But he had such a blast.
Hey.
And I didn't want to teach him anything. If he asked me something, I would tell him. But growing up, where I had somebody that was like ruling with an iron fist, as far as like being a soccer coach and stuff, it's like, you have to do this, you have to do this. Yeah. I was like, don't get me wrong, I think that I was good, but it made me resent it. because I despised like hearing them telling me all of these things to do, and I didn't want to be that for Rich, and I also don't want to be that for my daughter, you know. So I let them make their mistakes, and then I let them fix it, because one of the things I've learned is the mistakes you learn the hard way are the ones that you only have to learn once.
Yes.
So
for sure.
You know, let them make those mistakes, because if I coddle them and then like next thing you know, hey, this dude Rich sounds good on stream, we should have him at this event. And then what if his first event is a big event and then something doesn't go perfect because it's not his equipment? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine crumbling in front of all of those people?
True.
So by letting him learn through the school of hard knocks, he could tech support people that have been doing this a lot longer than him, you know. But again, you know, he did it straight for like 5 hours.
Wow.
Sometimes there was gems in there where he did like a good transition. For the most part, train wrecks. And then he just got bit by the bug and he just kept on going with it. And I was just like, wow, this is why I do these things. Yeah. This is why I provide for my friends, because you never know who could be a savant like Rich. You know, everybody sucks when they first start, right? But look how much he picked up on it and how much more he understands it now. And like I'll even admit, I've been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
Right? But
even though you still look young.
Oh, thanks. But with Rich, I might technically know more than him. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like, say, his specialty now is K-pop.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, he'll destroy me. He'll like I wouldn't even be on the same flyer as him. He's so good at that, like at least compared to me, you know. So, and I'm glad that he surpassed me in that. So that's why I do the things that I do is so that I can let other people, because like think of how much money he must have spent on the equipment, but then without his exposure to it, he would have never got started.
It's true.
And all of these K-pop mixes that he's done and stuff, I don't know if it's the world, but I'm gonna say the world wouldn't have that if Rich didn't have free access to this stuff, you know. Yeah. Which, by the way, it's not free. You guys got to rent the studio. But
I know, moving forward. No, after this production.
After this,
I might have to pay Vincent. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you again. Hey, I was going to say, man, you definitely, you know, talking about paving the way, you know, I've heard that's actually, in Japanese, the way is actually the dojo. So thanks for making a dojo for others. And I guess, you know, an innovation center, if you will, just to tinker around. And, you know, Vince was actually really nice enough. He said prior to this, yeah, you know, I have all these things if you want to try them out, and just to kind of tinker around and see if you want to like dabble into other investments, right, for this podcast scene. So, yeah, it's a kid's playground.
Like I said before, I hope that I can help you outgrow me, you know. Like I know that like I'm not gonna be your co-host going forward, you know.
Oh man, I was gonna do a pitch. Oh.
No, but it's like I know that you want to keep this going and everything, and this is your show, and I want you to be able to reproduce the quality that you want, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of trial and error getting to the point where I've gotten to. Mm-hmm. But me being your resource, you don't have to make the same mistakes as me.
Yes.
But I'll still help you along the way, you know? So, like you said, there was a light that you got off of Amazon. And then there's this light. So,
yeah, big difference.
Yeah, exactly. And the light that you have, it may have cost a couple $100. Well, everything from the stand to the light is over $1,000.
We'll see if this 360 camera can capture it. But yeah,
like,
this is huge.
Do you need that? Maybe not. And then we can figure out, it's like, okay, well, what's a smaller version of that you can get? And I can tell you the properties of light and how, you know, you can control the intensity, the quality, the amount, the color and the direction, you know? So you can control all of those things, but do you need a light this big? Not all the time. I just happened to be lazy and it was already set up. So I was like, okay, let's just use the bigger light, you know. But can you imagine spending $1,000 on a light that you ended up not needing? You know what I'm saying? And that's why I have these resources here, so that you can see if you can get away with like an Amazon light. And I'm not talking down on Amazon, you know, but every tool is perfect for something.
Yes, yeah. There's a rhyme and reason for why they're worth and value. Yeah,
exactly.
And this is why, hopefully my boss will approve of these. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I know she said not to shout her out, but I'm doing it still. But
yeah, she's the CFO over there, and
she's giving the silent treatment right now, saying stop.
Yeah. She's also making sure that I behave, because she's known me since the 1900s.
That's true. If you put it that way.
We got HR in the building also. She has you don't know this, but she has a dog collar strapped around my chest, and it's gonna electrocute me if I say something bad.
Oh, no wonder why. I see her. I thought she's just doing thumb twiddling, but I guess there's a clicker between her.
Oh, you know what I remember about her from high school? Okay, never mind. I don't.
Yeah. Oh man, no. You know, if we can get into that realm too, you know, the reason why I've connected with Vince, and I guess we reconnected, you know, especially from the recent gigs at the spot. I've known your family. You know, we grew up, and you've always been. Have you guys always been in Mira Mesa? I guess.
For the most part, I mean, like I've had times where, you know, through relationships, I've cohabitated with somebody, and with friendships where they needed help with something, I would move around and help them out. But for the most part, my home base has always been Mira Mesa.
Nice. Yeah. Always a lot of good folks here. Yeah. Mira Mesa is always going to be a home, and I think, it's always comforting when I do these podcasts. Like, I don't know if people can tell, so I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but especially like when I'm with a fellow Mira Mesa head, like it's just where it's like homecoming. Yeah. When we're chopping it up. So,
well, I mean, there's just some level of connection that you have with somebody that you can reminisce with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I met somebody that grew up in National City, no offense on them, but then I'm not going to be able to be like, yo, do you remember where we used to play with the Tamiya cars in the comic book store over here? Or, you know, or like, you remember that hot dog place that right in front there was a stage in the Mira Mesa Mall, you know?
Wow, callbacks.
Yeah, you remember Edelweiss, or like, you know, stuff like that.
Hot Dog Express.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there's a lot of things that you're just not gonna be able to talk about, that nostalgia, and there's this connection that you're gonna be able to have with somebody that grew up around the same time or the same area as you. So it's very heartwarming to have a hometown homie.
Oh yeah, you know, sure. It's, you know, we drank the same water. Yep. Yeah, we grew up in the same playground. Yeah. It's heartwarming. It's family. I feel like I just quoted Vin Diesel right there. We're family. Dominic Toretto. Yeah. Man, a lot of good stuff. I don't know where to go, because I think we just it's been a very, I have to say, be uplifted, definitely uplifting podcast. I guess let's just to not close it out, but I guess the last section of this podcast, because I want to keep it going. But so I know Be Uplifted is this is the home base here, right? And you guys have been going on for like 5 seasons already.
Yeah, actually it has been 5 seasons. Damn.
Yeah, I saw the recent episode, and I was so like traumatized when Rich was talking about snakes. I'm like, oh dude, and it's still like roaming around the house, I guess. But
I think they found it.
Oh, they did. Okay, good.
Well, I don't know, depending on when this episode comes out, because I don't want any spoilers.
Oh yeah, no spoiler. You heard it here first. If I decided to like post this right away. So they hope okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I think you can spoil that. It wasn't like a topic or anything.
Yeah, it was just kind of an intro, like, where you been? Yeah. That's crazy. 5 seasons already. I guess Yeah, just to dabble into that, how did that come about? So I know it's you, Lonnie, Ari, and Queer Rich. And then I know you mentioned other podcasts, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But how did Be Uplifted come into fruition?
Let me tell you this. I had a very good friend. His name was Nelson. His name is Nelson. He started a studio called Picture Flicks. And he was very big in the community, and he was very good at gathering people together. And we used to have a YouTubers meetup where YouTubers would just collab, they'd introduce themselves to each other, we'd share ideas. And I was just, I tried to sit in the background and just give any tech support that I could. So with that, a friend of mine, she had mentioned that she wanted to do something more. And I was like, okay, well, why don't you come with me to Picture Flicks, and we'll check out the YouTubers meetup. Wow. You can talk to other people that do YouTube and that do content creation.
This is all San Diego based? Or?
This is all San Diego based. This was off of Mission Gorge at the time.
Wow.
And we went together, and then she was like, oh, this is cool. She saw like how the mixer was, how she sounded on a microphone. And it was really cool. So Ari got to experience that firsthand. And I think it was her husband, Ackright, that reached out to me prior to this and said, hey, Ari has some questions about camera stuff, because, and this is what got me to tell her, hey, come to the thing. A lot of people look at, most photographers and videographers are very loyal to a brand.
Yeah.
I'm very loyal to Sony because it does everything that I need. It's my preference. I'm not going to say that it's the best, but it's the best for me.
Yeah.
Right? And I wanted to give her the experience where it's not just me defending Sony. I do my best to not do that and make recommendations for people based on them, not on what I think they should get. But what I think they would benefit from. So I gave her that opportunity. And then from that, she was like, oh, this was so cool. It might have been a little bit overwhelming. She needed some time to think about it. And months passed. And then I kept on telling her, I kept on nagging her. And she was like, oh, I really need to start. And I finally sat her down and I said, the only reason I bug you so much is because I believe in you. And it was a short time after that she actually started it. And at first, she was doing it where it was on a webcam.
Oh, really?
Right. So it was like an Xbox webcam.
Oh, really? Dang.
Yeah. And then and she did it with a bunch of with her friends. There was 4 girls originally. It was called Babes Uplifted. And then she hired me to do a photo shoot for them, do an intro and everything. So I did video for an intro. I did photo shoots for them so they could promote it, and they did it. Well, as they were going along, I kept on commenting because I loved it. They were doing it on a live stream, right? So they started it on Twitch, and I would comment. And I think that there were some people that were saying, hey, Vincent should be on it because he has some good questions. So I said, well, if you're going to put me on it, can we do it here at the studio? Because for one, I'm lazy. And 2, I have resources that you guys might benefit from. And if you guys like it, I'll tell you what to buy. If you guys don't like it, then just don't buy the same thing as me. And so they're like, oh, okay, cool, we'll do that. So then it was her and Lonnie, and then the other 2 girls that were on it, they live far away. So it was her and Lonnie that were doing it for a while. And then they added me as a guest. And then through repetition, I became, I guess, a
correspondent,
a member of the Babes Uplifted. And then that's when I got Rich, because Rich was good with the, he did more Twitch streams and everything more than I did. So he was more familiar with the setup and everything. So he was running everything, man behind the screen, behind the keyboard. He was doing that. And then Rich would be saying things, and they're like, "Oh, we should have Rich on here too."
Hey.
So I hated that the name changed because me and Rich are not babes, so they called it Be Uplifted.
Maybe to me. No, I'm just kidding.
They called it. They ended up calling it Be Uplifted, and it still hurts my heart because this was Ari's like, you know,
baby.
Yeah, this was her baby, and I it hurts me that something changed to conform to like us. But she keeps reassuring me that she's happy that she did it, but it's still hard for me, and I want her to chase her dream. And again, this was one of those things that I was hoping that they would just learn from me and then outgrow me, and then I would just be a supporter of them, you know. But I love the podcast. I get to I get to be an idiot.
You've been a very no. You're such a great contributor to the conversation. I even I think when I saw you last time, I mentioned and I was surprised because I thought it was one of the guys or ladies, Rich or one of the ladies that made it. But it's funny how someone was able to get all the golden nuggets that Vince had in the podcast, and it's like
so Ari was the one that did that. She's all like,
she did that
for me, or she's all, did you like the highlight thing? I was like, oh yeah, that was cool. And then
so she made it. Okay,
yeah, I was like, when are the other ones gonna come out? And she's all like, I don't know, there's so many. And I was like, well, like I want to see the one for Rich and stuff. And she's all, oh no, I just did it for you. I was like,
just for my brother.
I thought that was hilarious, though. I was like, wow, a lot of those could have been taken out of context.
Nah,
and I was like, oh man, I wish there was a little bit more to that clip.
Yeah, it's like there's actually, if they watch the whole episode. No, yeah, it's you know, I think, and you know, I know what you said there that, you know, it's unfortunate for, you know, on your part that it changed, but I mean, to me coming in, you know, I didn't know it was Babes Uplifted prior, but
yeah.
Just hearing Be Uplifted, you know, kind of synonymous with Operation fulfilling what you love to do, but Be Uplifted. And I feel like organically all four of you, and sometimes the guests that come in, like, you definitely uplift each other. You definitely feel a safe space and open-ended, like, you know, everyone's on the same level. And it's always a great conversation. And, you know, I have to say, just watching all of you, it's kind of been an inspiration of where I'm trying to go, you know, with this. So
awesome. Well, we would love to have you on if you would like to do a recording day with us.
Oh man, I'd be humbled.
I would love to have you on.
Thank you.
And HR can we have you?
She'll be there too in the background. Well, I was telling her whenever you all have the podcast, like, because she was like, I don't want to be there because I don't want to be seen. I'm like, no, there's sometimes, you know, some friends like come through just to watch.
Yeah,
and it's
fun. We've recorded in front of a live studio audience before. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. See, and that's and it's always good to have energy, you know, like being fed in. So yeah. So no, thank you for that, and then, you know, it's cool that you said your other podcast is Bang Bang.
Yeah, it's the Bang Bang Hour. Party Like a Motha. She's on all platforms. Party Like a Motha is on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and her group is the Bang Bang, or her phrase is like, go bang bang on people, because she's like she's kind of like a bully, but like
she just goes.
I'm not allowed to say that because she's gonna beat me up. But she's kind of like a bully. She'll like
she's a strong force.
Yeah, she's very strong, right? And we just took her catchphrase and then just made it the Bang Bang Hour, where we just talk to each other. So yeah, we did the Bang Bang Hour, and it's two different perspectives. It's just me and her talking and everything. It's probably the only non-DJ podcast of just DJs that talk about non-DJ.
Really?
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, we talk about DJ stuff, but then, like, honestly, it's an opportunity for us to catch up to each other and talk to each other and stuff like that. Because she has her life and I have mine, and because we're best friends, it's nice to just chill and talk to each other. But we also bring up like certain topics, like when's it considered cheating, or would you rather this, or we'll talk about she's okay, so she's very, very, very attractive. One of the things that she was talking about was how to talk to somebody that you look up to that could be a streamer. Because she's also
yeah, I've seen that one.
yeah, she's also talked about like how some of her friends, you know, that they've met through Twitch, and they've met other people through Twitch, and now they're in a relationship, and then it's like, yo, this is crazy. This is like Tinder but live stream, you know.
Kind of like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, she was saying to the audience, like, if you really want to get the attention of of someone that's on live, yeah, you have to do this and that, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. There's other ones where we talked about toxicity and like and you know, stuff like that. Like one of the ones that they said is we're talking about like gender roles and stuff, and then I asked her, who's a prize in the relationship? She'll the girl. I was like, okay, that's fine, but if she's a prize, you have to treat the man like the champion, because the man is the one that earned that prize. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's cool, be the prize, but respect us as the champion. And the hardest thing.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, like the ultimate disrespect is to give another guy more authority than your man. Because I mean, like, if he's your man, shouldn't that automatically give him the highest you know,
regard? And
yeah, exactly, you know, other than God, right? So and the reason that came up is because, like, why is it that when I go on a date with a girl, she'll be 15 minutes late, but when she goes to work, she shows up on time all the time?
Oof.
You know, or why is it that if I tell a girl that if we're not going out together, I don't feel comfortable with her wearing something because I know how guys are going to look at her and stuff like that. But and she'll give me pushback on that. But when she goes to work, she can abide by that dress code. And it's like, okay, but I'm protecting you. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And you know, there's
that's true.
Yeah.
It's a good angle.
Yeah. But I don't want to your battery die. Plus, I got a DJ soon.
Oh yeah, that's right. And maybe
we can do a part 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll definitely part 2 this, and I guess he had a good idea, but you'll see what happens after this. I guess we'll end it. Wow. Yeah, and because we went over an hour, this is a good man. I'm glad we did this, bro. And thank you. It was actually Vince who kept on reminding me, hey, are we gonna do it soon? And I thank you for giving me the opportunity. But
you don't understand how much I was looking forward to this.
Oh man, I'm humbled,
because I really wanted to do that. I was like, are we gonna do it?
Yeah, like, are we doing this soon? And in closing, I'll just say, yeah, please look forward to part 2. It'll be a different setup. That's all I'm gonna say. But this is DJ Vinylinist. I've been saying Vinylinist. I've been saying it the wrong time.
The Vinylinist. But yeah, I will see you guys back again when I will be on off.
Off
again.
Yes. I like that. I'm gonna call it. Yeah, we're the on off. You know, like a Filipino auntie. Oh, turn open on off.
Yeah. No. So hi everybody. I'm on off.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. That's gonna be a shirt in the future. So this
I will buy those panties.
You know, tiny inscription because they really have to look close. This is Vinylinist and Gerard of Gerard Loves Life, and we're on Operation Fulfill, and we have liftoff. See you soon.
Bye.